Hello, Solar Eclipse Timer users. This is Dr. Telepin checking back in. I recently visited Meteor Crater in Arizona. There is an interesting way that it has a link to Alabama. A lady from Alabama was struck by a meteorite. The doctor who cared for her later practiced at my hospital in Decatur, Alabama. Let's talk about it. Eclipse event, open app. Meteor Crater is also referred to as Barringer Crater in honor of Daniel Barringer, who suggested it was caused by a meteorite impact. Prior to his idea, it was thought to be caused by volcanic activity. If you are visiting this area of the Southwest, you should try to visit it. It is impressive. We combine the crater visit with a Grand Canyon visit. Flagstaff is about 84 miles south of Grand Canyon National Park. Then Meteor Crater is about 40 miles east of Flagstaff. The crater and facilities are privately owned and controlled by an entity called Meteor Crater Enterprises Incorporated. There is an entrance fee. It is clear that the owners take pride in the facility as they provide access to the crater. Everything is organized, clean, and well maintained. Food is available, and there's a nice gift shop. Of course, I had to buy a small piece of authentic meteorite oxide obtained from the crater. And of course, it is magnetic. Between 1964 and 1972, Apollo astronauts were allowed to train here to better understand how material is ejected out of impact craters. In 1968, it was designated a natural landmark by the Department of the Interior. It is not my goal to do an in-depth education about the crater in this video. You can read that for yourself. It is the goal of this video to inspire you to visit the crater. It is impressive. But for the sake of completeness, I will quickly list some facts. The impact is estimated to have occurred 50,000 years ago. The crater is 3/4 of a mile wide and has a circumference of 2.4 miles. It is presently 550 feet deep. The meteorite is estimated to have been 150 feet across, weighing several 100,000 tons. Traveling at 26,000 miles per hour, the impact created an explosion that was equal to 20 million tons of TNT. The visit starts in a theater with a well-produced 10-minute movie that is an overview of the creation of the crater and the relevant history of its discovery and subsequent use. The Discovery Center is an impressive interactive museum. This is one of the best interactive museums I have ever visited. On open display, so you can touch it, is a 1,400-pound fragment of the meteorite that was pulled from the crater. Now let's talk about the museum display, Stars Fell on Alabama. An incredible incident happened in Sylacauga, Alabama. A lady was struck by a meteorite, and the physician who treated her used to live in my town and was a staff member at my hospital. This is a framed set of images commemorating the incident hanging in the doctor's lounge in my hospital. Here's the story. It was November 30th, 1954, and Dr. Moody Jacobs had just stepped out of his office to get a sandwich for lunch. As he stepped out, he saw a large ball of fire and an explosion in the northwestern sky. When he got back to the office after lunch, there was a message waiting for him. His patient, Mrs. Ann Hodges, called to ask for medical attention. She had been struck by the meteorite. She was resting on her couch when the meteorite ripped through the roof and ceiling of her house, bounced off a console radio, and struck her on the left arm and left side, resulting in a large bruise. Dr. Jacobs arrived to the house to find the meteorite on the floor, still warm to the touch. The meteorite weighed 9 pounds and was 7 inches long. Although stable, because luckily she was not hit directly, she was transferred to the local hospital. Because Mrs. Hodges became the only recorded person to be struck by a meteorite, and Dr. Jacobs the only physician to treat a patient struck by a meteorite, they were both acknowledged in the Guinness Book of Records in 1990. Copies of that acknowledgement are also included in the frame at my hospital. The meteorite and the console radio are presently on display at the Alabama Museum of Natural History. The view of the crater, once you walk out of the visitors building, is spectacular. Here are a few wide-angle pictures. It looks huge, and seeing it gives you an appreciation for the moon, since this crater is actually small compared to some on the moon. For example, Tycho is 52 miles wide and 2.7 miles deep, so it is 50 times bigger. In this close-up image of the far wall, you can see an exposed thick strata of rock, which helps give you an idea about the depth of the crater and the forces involved. There are 4 levels from which you can observe the crater, the first being the level of the visitors building. Then there is a paved path downward to an observation deck. And then from that deck, there is another paved path down to a second, even lower observation area. The first observation deck has 8 monocular scopes to view features in the crater. As I show them, I must say that the owners have done something very clever here. Instead of having monocular scopes that are movable with a map of things to find and look at, these 8 monoculars are welded in place and aimed directly at the point of interest. Under each scope is a sign describing what you are looking at. This is a great way to set up these scopes for the public. It was a simple matter to move from one scope to the other and clearly see the object of interest. Here is a wide-angle view of the crater zooming into the center mining area. You can see the winch, boiler, mine shaft, a 6-foot-tall astronaut, and flag mounted on the fence. It gives you a feeling for the size of the crater. You can also walk upward from the level of the main building to an elevated observation point. This is great for looking at the crater, but also provides a spectacular panoramic view of the surrounding plains of Arizona. The Discovery Center may have impressed me so much, since it focuses on one subject, meteors, meteorites, impacts, and craters. But it also has a display about comet Shoemaker-Levy, which impacted Jupiter in July of 1994. I met David Levy because he was the astronomy expert on my 2006 solar eclipse tour. All of the displays are concise and extremely well done. If you read through these displays, you will be very knowledgeable about impacts in general and understand the significance of Meteor Crater. It is the best preserved example of an impact crater on Earth and has led to a better understanding of other impact craters on Earth. So let me repeat. If you are traveling in the Southwest, please take the opportunity to visit Meteor Crater. It's just east of Flagstaff, Arizona. I really think you will enjoy the visit. Thank you for watching this Solar Eclipse Timer episode. Although this episode was not about solar eclipses, I hope you enjoyed the information. If you did, please subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button below. Also click the little bell that will pop up. That will make sure you are notified when I release new YouTube videos. Also, post comments and questions. If you don't feel like subscribing now, that's okay too. Just check in on this channel because my goal is to make it the best YouTube channel to prepare people for solar eclipses. Thanks again. I appreciate your time.